Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Kaiser Gaming. And man, do I have some timing or what? I mean, after a year of, radio silence, the devs not saying anything about the upcoming DLC for Age of Empires 3, I put out a video last week showcasing every morsel of information of what we knew about the Danes and what they might look like when they finally made their way into the game. And I had some really important personal business come up. I go AFK. The one day I'm not able to respond to any breaking news is, of course, the day that DLC info finally drops. And unfortunately, it's not good. So, in today's video, I just want to chat with you guys. I want to talk about the article and what it means, talk about AoE3, Iron Kaiser Gaming, and answer the question, did Age of Empires 3 just die? Is AoE3 dead? Well, let's dive into it. I've got the article pulled up right here. You guys can read the whole thing for yourselves on the screen. I just want to focus on the two bits of information that they gave us, the two messages. Once you sort of cut out a lot of the jargon, the two things they communicated to us that are important. All right. To our AoE3 explorers, the fans, the gamers, the people that play AoE3. Number one, after serious consideration, this DLC, the DLC that was promised last year as a part of the New Year, New Age event, the one that was going to bring Poland and Denmark into the game, is canceled. It is not coming to AoE3. As far as Microsoft and World's Edge go, those two civs are not going to be part of AoE3. Canceled. It's done. Which already, gut punch. I mean, that stings. We'll talk about that in a second. But two, if we kind of skip down, blah, 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 even more important than that is the final paragraph. It's very easy to overlook, but this is the most important thing. Whilst we will not be moving forward with this DLC content for AoE3, we will continue to maintain servers, rotate civs through the free trial version, and provide customer support for any issues you may encounter while playing. If you are reading your corporate jargon correctly, I do not understand. I don't know any other possible way to interpret this line than them saying, as far as Microsoft and World's Edge go, development of AoE3 is done. There will be no more gameplay updates, no more patches, obviously no more DLC. They are not going to continue working on the game at all. Age of Empires 3, as it is right now, as of this recording, is finished. That's it. Everything that they list here, they say, well, we're going to keep the lights on. You can still hit the play button. But, we're not going to go back to AoE 3 at all. It's important to read about what they're not saying. They don't say we'll continue to enhance your AoE 3 experience. We're going to continue to provide adjustments to the gameplay experience or anything like that. So they are done working on AoE 3. It is finished. And that right there is heartbreaking. I mean, let's kind of dive into this. I want to react to this now. Let's talk about these two pieces of information. I mean, first off, as a gamer, as somebody who just loves Age of Empires 3, and I'm not saying as a YouTuber or anything like that. It's like that hat is not on at all. As somebody who loves Age of Empires 3, this breaks my heart. I mean, I was really looking forward to this DLC. I think the Poles and the Danes would have been amazing additions to the game. I think that their last DLC, the Knights of the Mediterranean, was like among their best. I thought that was an amazing DLC, and I was really looking forward to seeing what they would do with their next at-bat, right? I think that would have been a really cool DLC, right? But then for them to turn around and say, yeah, we're finished. And that's also, by the way, you can also read that by the fact that they spotlight the modders, which is great. I've made some mods for the game that people have liked. So I know there's some incredible modders out there, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So the fact that, though, that they're saying, hey, you can go here if you want to experience more in your AoE3 world, that's their way of admitting, like, you're not going to get it from us. We're done. We're done with AoE3, right? So go to the mods if you want more. It hurts. It stings. I mean, I love this game. Now, I am an adult. I know that games don't last forever. There is a time and a place for developers to say, okay, we're finished. We're not able to do anymore. It's not feasible for us to do anymore with this game, so we're going to cease development here. I get that, but that kind of brings me to my second point, which is I've got to be honest. I don't like saying this, but I have to say it. I am deeply disappointed in Microsoft and World's Edge and the way that communication has happened surrounding everything Age of Empires 3 over the last several years. I think it's been really, really bad. I mean, take a look at, first of all, the announcement of this DLC last year, which they say, we brought it into the show. We wanted AoE3 to feel like it was a part of the franchise. Well, that announcement was terrible. I mean, we got a 2-second snippet of 2 flags in the middle of all the AoE2 stuff and AoE4 stuff and AoE Mobile and everything else going on. It was very clear that AoE3 was on the back burner. And AoE3, unfortunately, has always been on the back burner with World's Edge and Microsoft. I mean, you take a look at Red Bull, for example. I mean, Red Bull, hey, let's celebrate the tournaments, right? Let's celebrate everything Age of Empires. We got AoE1, AoE2, AoE4, Age of Mythology, and we're done. That's it. He said, wait, what about AoE3, right? And that I have to lay, ultimately, I think, at the feet of Microsoft. They never gave AoE3 that opportunity to just have that spotlight, that moment of, they have an incredible game on their hands. AoE3 is an amazing game. And it just kept constantly getting pushed into the shadows, pushed to the side. Even when they would do some incredible things in-game, and they made some amazing steps in the game, they didn't actually elevate AoE3 and spotlight the awesome work that their teams were doing. Whether you're talking about, for example, I remember when the hero cosmetics came out. I thought that was an amazing idea, by the way. I'm shocked that AoE doesn't do that more often, right? They came out with the cosmetics. What a cool way of investing in the game and sort of customizing your experience and finding player expression through something like your own unique explorer, right? Well, they only ever came out with 2. They came out with a ninja for the Japanese and then a collection of, random skins for random civs. And they hardly advertised that work. I think most people didn't even know about it, right? In fact, that was one of those times when my channel kind of blew up a little bit in the AoE3 community, was the video that I put out showcasing a lot of their work, with the game's aesthetics and with the explorers and everything, because they weren't doing it. So, whether it's that or even when AoE3 went free to play, great idea. What a great way to advertise this amazing game and get more people to try it out and get into that ecosystem. They hardly advertised it. And we did not see that coordination from the other Age games to say, hey, and just the community as a whole, the World's Edge team, to say, hey, let's put the spotlight on AoE3 right now, and let's have everybody sort of just pay attention that we've got this cool free experience. If you never tried it before, give it a shot, because it's a great game. That didn't happen. They announced the DLC, and then it's just a year of dead silence and a constant theme of getting pushed to the side, getting pushed to the shadows. And what would get communicated is sort of this constant promise. Like, okay, guys, everybody's working on Age of Mythology right now, but we'll swing back around to it, right? We're going to come back and come back to AoE3. I was always somebody who bought into that. I would read the best into Microsoft or World's Edge and what they were communicating, because I thought of them as a business. There's a business reputation. Reputations for businesses, they're just like people, easy to build, hard to build, easy to destroy, right? So I thought, they're going to want to maintain their reputation, and so when they're communicating to us to just have patience, to hang on, that they're going to be swinging back around and doing this work as soon as they're done with Age of Mythology and everything, I kept giving them the benefit of the doubt. Even the most recent patch for the game, which was rather mediocre, a small patch, others were upset. I was saying, well, guys, wait a minute. I think that it's going to be because they've got so much work lined up coming with the DLC. They don't want to steal any of their thunder by releasing it early as part of the patch. They want to make sure that they give the game the best punch-up that they can with the DLC. So let's just hang on and wait for the DLC to drop before we start saying that, the game is dead or anything like that. Well, now they've dropped it. And so I think communication has just been awful. And you're even seeing that communication snowball now into other games. AoE3 and Age of Mythology have around about the same player numbers. I think AoE3 actually has more than Age of Mythology right now. And you've got people in the Age of Mythology community who are saying, okay, wait a minute. They promised us 2 DLCs. Are we sure that we're actually going to get 2 DLCs? Now, me from last week would have said, well, of course. I mean, they put their name on there. They put their stamp on it. they're gonna maintain what they promised, right? But now I have no choice but to say, well, I actually don't know. I mean, if the numbers come up the wrong way, maybe not, because they canceled what they did with AoE3. They said a DLC was coming, and now it's not coming, right? And they did it in a way where it's very clear that it's just very underhanded. I mean, you could tell, like, even the developers, like a couple of weeks ago, were putting out information on like some hints about what was coming, and I get the feeling, again, reading the tea leaves, that they're just as blindsided by this as we are. So now, I mean, the Age of Mythology guys are worried about it, and they have good reason to be worried. I mean, I think it'll probably still come out, but who knows, right? Who knows? So it's just really, really disappointing as far as Microsoft goes. And I say that as somebody who I was hoping. I say all of that. I don't want to bash World's Edge. I've always harbored this hope that one day the channel would get big enough that and I've tried to reach out to World's Edge before and say, hey guys, how could I become one of those guys that gets trusted with an inside scoop on the next big AoE thing, right? AoE2, AoE3, whatever. I am more than anything an AoE YouTuber, right? And I love this franchise so much. I love these games so much. And what would it take? I've done not only my YouTuber, but I've created all these different projects. I've done these different things for AoE. What would it take for me to get in that inside track? So, I don't like to beat up on the people that make my favorite games. But I've got to be honest to you guys too. It's bad. It's just been a really bad way of communicating. It's been a lot of promises, a lot of hang in there, guys. Trust us, you're valued. But you've got to ask, what does value actually look like? We wanted you guys to feel like you're a part of the family, a part of the franchise celebration. What does it look like to actually feel like a part of the family, to be a part of the celebration? Because you kind of botched that, and then we just stumbled all the way to where we are now, where we're canceling this, and it's just been really bad on the communication side of things from Microsoft. So, okay, that brings us to the question: is Age of Empires 3 dead? Depends on how you define dead. If by alive, when you say a game is alive, if what you mean is the developer is constantly providing updates and tweaks and changes and new content, and there's always something going on from the developer to the game. If that's the world in which you just determine dead or alive, AoE3 just died. The game is dead. I hate to say that, but it's true. However, on the flip side of the coin, AoE3 has currently a really great and a hardcore fan base. These guys love AoE3. And in that community are modders and people that can, change aspects of the game, and people that create new things for the game. I've seen new civilization. I mean, they are right that there's an incredible mod browser in AoE3DE. So you got new civilizations in the game, and new units in the game, and new cards, and new balance changes, right? And what I would bet you is that this article is a catalyst for the community to take control. And what I think that we're going to see, and in fact, I'm already seeing this percolating in some of the different, conversations surrounding within the AoE3 fandom, is people saying, okay, how can we get together to make a fan patch? How can we get together to continue to support this game as a community ourselves? How can we take the lead and pick up the ball where the DE devs have dropped it, right? And, the thing is, if you look back at the history of Age of Empires, that's been part of the magic sauce of AoE from the beginning. Age of Empires 2, AoE 3, both of those OG versions of the game, at some point the developers said, Ensemble Studios said, we're finished with the game, we can't go any further. And it was the fan base that picked it up and said, I think we can go even further with this thing and guide it and care for it and do even more with it than than it currently is. And the games became better than ever. And not only did they become better than ever, they led to resurgences for those games. And so I would predict to you, I'm going to say the game is not dead. I think you're still going to have a lot of people playing the game. It's free to get into. You're going to have a lot of people playing it. You're going to have a lot of fun in AoE3. And I guarantee you that we're going to see at least, I'll be shocked if we don't see a community fan patch pick up where the developers here have left off. And it would not even surprise me if we see the Poles and the Danes in the future come not from Microsoft, not from World's Edge, but they're going to come from that incredible fan base who adds them in themselves. And just who knows? I would not bet against the tenacity of the fan base to do some really amazing things with AoE3 DE. Excuse me. Finally, I just want to talk maybe a little bit about the channel and a little bit about my own personal feelings because, guys, on the one hand, I'm kind of lucky in that I'm not technically strictly an AoE3 YouTuber. I mean, I guess I'm sort of variety, but I'm a strategy guy, and if you look at my channel, like 95% of what I do is Age of Empires. And in that, most of what I've done is AoE3. Guys, I love this community so much. And not only do I love the game, but I would say if I'm anybody, if you had to put me down to one game, I am an AoE3 YouTuber. Because the stuff that I put out for Age of Empires 3 has just resonated with the community, and you guys have sort of come around my videos and supported my videos and joined the Discord and had conversations with me and played multiplayer games with me on AoE3. AoE3 has just been a part of Iron Kaiser Gaming in a way that no other game has been. And, you know, what now? What now as a YouTuber, right? Well, you know, I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Like, the thing is, I'm not somebody who, like, is chasing the next hot thing. I play what I play, I love what I love, and I share what I love to share. I can guarantee you that the next handful of videos are going to be about AoE3. I've got some concepts I would love to talk with you guys about. I mean, I've had a script sitting on my desk for a while now on, like, approaching the idea of what would an AoE3 sequel look like if I were the developer, or kind of if I could go back in time and change some things about AoE3, or why is it that AoE3 was not as popular initially as AoE2 was, and you know, different things like that. I want to kind of get into that conversation. I think there's some really cool things to talk about. I had some ideas for a Swiss civilization in AoE3 and what that could look like that I thought might be fun to share with you guys. I love this game. And especially if my prediction is right and, you know, we do see that fan base really pick up where the devs have left off on AoE3, then you can bet that I'm going to continue to be an AoE3 fanboy, and I'm going to continue to be showcasing this game and just partnering up with that community to really do some fun things in the AoE3 world. At the same time, of course, I'm not exclusively an AoE3 guy, so if you want to see other Age of Empires stuff or other strategy game things, you know, there'll be other adventures too. And depending on what happens, you know, if AoE3 slowly kind of fades into the dying of the light, you know, there will be other games for me to get into, and we as a community will see what the future holds. I don't know. But I really think that we've not seen the last of AoE3, and we're going to see more come out of this game. But that's all I've got. I just wanted to react to this, you know, along with everybody else who's sharing their opinions. I'm disappointed. It stings, but man, do I have a lot of hope for what the developers can do. And I'll tell you, if you're a fan of the better mods that I've done before, like the better unit descriptions or the better unique church card descriptions, I'm telling you right now, I want to be a part of whatever team comes up with the fan patch in order to help sort of incorporate those mods into the patch, or to at least give some extra functionality so that my patch, my mods can do even more than they do right now. I want to be a part of that. So just putting that out there for whoever is working on them. You know, reach out to me. Let's talk. For now, guys, this is the Iron Kaiser. Have a great one out there. God bless. And have fun with AoE3. See you around.